Building and designing websites in Oxygen is all based around our fundamentals first approach. Instead of an endless library of pre-made elements that might not even fit what you need, Oxygen gives you the fundamental building blocks of the web, allowing you to create purpose-built elements that nail your requirements every time. So let's go ahead and jump into Oxygen and I'll show you what I mean. If we hit the plus icon up here at the top left, we're in our Elements panel. And you can see we have a few categories, but what I want to show you is the basic category. You can see there are 6 elements here, but these 6 elements will allow you to build basically anything you need. And that's because, for instance, the container element can have whatever HTML tag you want. If we go up here to the top right after adding a container, we can make this into a div, a section, footer, header, nav, aside, figure, article, main, details, summary, or even an unordered or ordered list or a list item. So the container alone gives you an incredible amount of flexibility. And because there are so many options here and you probably don't want to click and choose an HTML tag every time you drop in a container, what we can do is hit Command or Control A, search for the tag that we actually want to add. For instance, we want a section, and it's going to show us that we can add a container with the HTML tag section. If we hit enter, it drops it in, and you can see up here at the top right, it has selected section for us. We can do the same thing for any of these HTML tags. So for instance, we want to make a list. Let's go ahead and make an unordered list. So we'll hit Command or Control A again, type UL, drop in our container with the UL tag, Command or Control A again, type LI, and drop in a container with a list item tag. And now we're building an HTML list. So with these fundamental parts and pieces, you can build virtually anything that you'd expect to see on the web. For instance, let's take a look at one of these elements on this page, like this testimonial. This, if we look at the structure, is just a container with another container inside of it that's set up with CSS grid so we can get these 2 elements side by side. We have the left side here, which contains this little circle and this text, and then we have the right side, which contains our testimonial. Everything is built out of fundamental building blocks, which also makes it completely malleable. You can move any of these elements around, change their tags, adjust their styling. You're never locked in to whatever we thought you might want. But some stuff is just hard to build on your own, so we do have a few helpers. Let's go back to the Add panel, and under the Advanced and Dynamic categories, you're going to find a couple of other things. We have a JavaScript code element that lets you write your own JavaScript on the page, shortcode for rendering WordPress shortcodes, a container shortcode for WordPress shortcodes that should wrap some content, and then component, which is an Oxygen feature that lets you create reusable elements with locked-in layouts and design. Now, let's look at the dynamic category. Here we have our dynamic data elements, such as our post loop builder, which will let you display a list of posts. We have our repeater field element, which is purpose-made to help you display ACF repeater field data. And then we have our term loop builder, which will let you display categories or taxonomy terms. And then the WordPress widget element. And finally, under other, you'll find a couple of other things. An SVG icon element to make it easier to drop in SVG icons, a CSS code block, an HTML5 video element, an HTML code block, a PHP code block element, which is key to making Oxygen incredibly powerful for developers, and then an OEmbed element. So as you can see, Oxygen ships with relatively few elements, but these elements are the fundamental building blocks of the web, and with these elements, you can build virtually anything you can imagine.